Meeting to order. Two.
If y'all would turn your mics on, please.
So Bill, so
No, that's the eagle. That's the eagle stuff right there.
Eagles.
Yeah, I love Bell.
Oh, did you?
I did. Oh, 3 years was enough.
Okay, you guys ready to start? Let's do a roll call.
Lynn here.
Kelly Tunes here. Dan Brown here.
Over here. Dan here.
Tracy Anderson here.
Great. And the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Everyone got a chance to look at the agenda for today? Are there any
Yeah.
adjustments or changes?
No.
Right. Do we need to approve that? Can't we? Yeah. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda for July 21st, 2026.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Oh, all right, it's approved. And then we also got circulated to us a copy of the minutes for our June 16th meeting. And I've looked at them. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? Are there any changes, edits? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes from June 16th.
I can't approve because I wasn't there.
It's like an auxiliary person. But then approve minutes, like you can't vote on certain things, right? Like if you approve the minutes, I can second that
Yes,
because I know I can't.
Great.
Okay, cool.
you can't vote, but we let you second.
We can make a motion.
Second that.
Second. Well, no, we need a motion.
I'll present a motion to approve the minutes for June 16th, 2026.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next item is, are there any conflicts of interest relating to matters we're going to discuss today? Anybody have any
I have
conflicts?
none.
Okay. Any public comments? Online?
Settle down.
Okay. And then special presentations, we don't have any. Business items, we don't have any. But we have our discussion items, which is the historic preservation plan update. I believe this is what you and I met on, right?
Yeah.
And then both of us were absent the last meeting. My daughter had her baby, by the way, during our meeting. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So we're going to review that, which was sent around. You want to pull that up on the screen so we can look at that?
Sure.
As we pull those goals. And I'm going to turn it over to Madison. Take us through this.
Hello.
Okay, so this was actually in y'all's last agenda. However, due to time constraints, we ended up just continuing it or moving it to this agenda. So none of this should be a shock to you. It was literally copied and pasted from the last packet. Nothing changed. So of the plan, there are several pages that are still consistent with the original 2022 plan. So the first 8 pages of the plan are identical to what was in the last plan. If you have any feedback on those first 8 pages and would like to change or update them, please let me know. I just went through the goals and action items.
So one question on the history, what year were we incorporated and is that
1904.
in there?
It should be.
It's, yeah.
Yep.
Minturn was incorporated on November
Oh,
15th, 1904.
first time council meets, got it, yeah, intern. It was buried in that 3 lines. Okay, thanks.
Otherwise, I'm not planning, unless I get feedback asking me to change the first 8 pages, I was planning to just keep that consistent across the plan.
Great.
So the stuff that we're actually here to talk about today is the last 3 pages. So we have goal 1, which is bring awareness to the historic preservation policy and benefits. Under that goal, we put 3 different objectives: to promote the benefits of Minturn's historic preservation program through resource development, to build upon the education of Minturn's Historic Preservation Commission and staff to better enable the promotion and execution of Minturn's historic preservation program, and to expand public awareness and outreach to all citizens, property owners, businesses, and visitors. Within those 3 objectives, I have several action items after that. I'm not going to read those word for word, but they're all supposed to fall under the umbrella of bringing awareness to historic preservation policy and benefits. So for goal 1 and its objectives and action items, to this page 9 of the plan, is there any feedback, anything you'd like to change, anything you'd like to add or remove?
I have something if,
Yeah, please.
well, maybe it's premature in this discussion, but we've sort of talked a little bit about the value of we have talked about several times the value of or the perceived value to us of tourism and being a historic town and using that historic designation and buildings that are preserved to enhance tourism as an economic driver. And I don't really see that. I'm just asking, really, is it something we want to kind of add an objective for, or just promote that? Anyway, I'll leave it there and we can maybe, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't really see it codified in the plan.
Seems like a good idea, sure. That was an action item.
I was just thinking that the business owners probably would, also appreciate that. I mean, if they read it, I don't,
Well, what would you like it to say, Tracy?
I haven't really gotten that far, but maybe just have sorry, let me pull up my packet. I'm looking at the screen. Maybe something along the lines of like it could be under goal 1, like objective 1.4, say something expand or expand tourism to Minturn via historic preservation, properties. And we did talk about at some point having a tiny museum. Maybe that would be in the barn. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, we could have an objective that we could craft that might include like this type of tourism. Because I think that would be really cool. And I think I even heard something on NPR this past week about tourism to historic towns, and that it's kind of picking up overall. So I'm throwing it out there. I don't have the exact wording for an objective though.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of implicit in the idea of, creating awareness and PR for historic preservation, but what you're saying is to do that with an economic objective. In other words,
Yeah, and Lynn,
what I was going to say is maybe a way to do that is to actually work with the downtown development what's it called? Downtown Development
Already.
Authority, DDA. DDA, are they active? I mean, are they meeting and stuff, doing
Yep.
things?
They're required by their charter to meet quarterly.
Because a big part of that is to get a unified, in my experience, is to get a unified message out there, you know, that this is a historic town. And to have them promote it that way in their materials, while we're doing what we can to promote from the town loudspeaker and activities that we have contemplated. So, you know, maybe one of the items, I'm trying to think of how we actually do something, because when Madison and I got together, that's the thing I was looking at, is how do we get into action so we're actually accomplishing something. You know, we've done a lot of groundwork, but now it's time to put our horse in the water, I think. And so maybe one of the action items is to get with the downtown development group and talk to them and see if this is of interest to them. And if it is, how we can collaborate to position and emphasize Minturn as a historic town, because I do think that has legs and it will bring customers if that message gets out and resonates.
I think too, Lynn has been a real proponent of that. Well, and others as well. I don't want to leave anyone out, but of like a self-guided walking tour, you know, that's kind of a cool thing that
Could be an action
that
item.
could be one of the vehicles to, you know, promote that.
So we're trying to think of things that are gonna get their hooks into people that are bringing them in.
Yes.
Based upon history, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that if Minturn, I mean, it's kind of already informally known as a, you know, historic, quaint little town. But if they push that, and maybe they have other ideas of things that we could do that could help the business side from a historic preservation perspective, I don't know.
Like I was, you know, back home, you know, you can just about go on the weekend during the summer and see somebody blacksmithing, building a wagon, right?
Yeah.
What's the big deal here is construction. Like, are there people who are versed enough in like old timey construction that like a demonstration could be put on one day? Like this is
We're building a barn right now.
Yeah. People invited me.
I had people watching me on Saturday.
You know where the amphitheater is?
Here in town,
Yeah.
vaguely.
Okay, you go downtown and the first bridge across, go there and go around to the right and you'll see the barn project. And we're actually building an old historic barn, rebuilt
Cool.
right now.
It's gonna move from a different location.
Oh, that's that barn.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
An old
it.
horse barn. And
It's one of the first.
so we do have a demonstration site, but continue.
I was just saying, like, what are things that are pertinent to us that would be interesting for someone to come see? You know what I mean? Like,
Technically, that's what we're doing right now.
Is that down at the park?
That's cool. So just getting the first layers built. And
Cool.
I was just trying to think of ways. It's because it's like, yeah, it's a cool historic town and stuff, you know, but like, why? Why do I want to come see it? You know, because it's historic. It's been around for a long time. Maybe I like trains or something. You know, maybe I'm a big lettuce fan. I don't.
no one's a lettuce fan right now, especially Ken.
Hey, that's nice.
So yeah.
Ken just got better. He's been sick for weeks. I'm serious.
That's not good.
Man.
I mean, the rail thing is a big part of why the town founded in the first place. So if there was more evidence of that.
I wish we had a locomotive or something, but well, after looking through the packet today, I saw the photo on the locomotive from 1925, and I was thinking, huh?
Everybody's sitting.
Yeah, and it got me thinking. It would be really fun if we reenacted that, but maybe with a bus representing the locomotive, and try to promote it and get everyone in town. I don't think we've done it since to do a group photo.
That one.
Yeah.
This is a cool picture.
Is that like the whole town at that time?
Could have been. There's a lot of. I think we only had 300 people in town at that point.
There are no women in the photo, so it's just the railroad
The
workers.
workers.
Yeah.
But could be a kind of a cool thing to get people excited about it.
It's a pretty cool one.
So, to go on, can I go to a new subject on this line? So, in addition to education, which is a big part that we've been engaging with for historic preservation, it seems to me like the most important thing that we do is actually preserving buildings. And all of this, all the goals, all the action items are about expanding awareness. They're not actually doing anything. We're not actually trying to get buildings saved, other than, I mean, the grant to get the cultural resource survey was a great first step to identify things, but I don't see us doing anything to actually save buildings other than wait for someone to designate. And I think we need to it'd be a good goal, like a goal number 3 is to actually preserve buildings and then have objectives and action items that reflect how we would go about doing that. Because as it is right now, I don't see us actually being a very effective committee at all, because we're just waiting for buildings to be designated. I mean, the Bellum House came up and no one nominated it. And that's, I mean, the Bellum name alone is enough to make that a designated building. And it's pretty intact. So I don't see it.
Nominate, Robert, nominated.
If I nominate, that doesn't do it. You need 2 people, and
That's
I can't
right.
need another person from this committee. So,
Do you know anybody else who would go with it?
and I was actually advising someone who's considering purchasing the property, so I didn't feel like I was in a position that I could nominate it.
Yeah.
So, but I see us as not particularly successful at preserving anything at this point. I mean, there are a few buildings that have been, obvious ones that are already designated, but I don't know. I feel like we need to be more proactive, and I think having it in the plan that this is actually a goal is to preserve buildings. So that's my bit.
The only thing that I know hearsay is that the Bellum House was thought of as a demolished building and they just put a new roof on it and repainted it. So that, to me, is something in a positive.
Well,
When they're selling it as a demo project.
and I think they pulled they triggered the review with the roof to see if it would get designated.
Yeah.
And when it didn't get designated, now they're planning to tear it down. And I don't know if someone goes in with a demo permit, or are they protected for the next 5 years? They can't get
In all
designated.
cases, except demolition.
Pardon me?
In all cases, except demolition.
So anything can happen in the building except demolition without getting.
Them having to do the 2-week stay.
With normal P and Z requirements, like if you want to add on, you gotta get the permit.
So somebody could tear it down to the foundation and save one wall.
No, they can't.
That's not how demolition works. No, they would have to pull a demo permit for that, which would trigger the.
What is the amount of demolition that triggers a demo permit?
I mean,
Is it specific, like you have to have a certain percentage of the building remaining?
That's interesting.
Because I don't think it's in the code. I think someone could leave one wall standing and take the whole thing down.
I mean, I've seen 8 studs in the foundation before.
Yeah, I have too.
Yeah, really.
So I should be more familiar with what the demolition permit requirements are, like at what level does it get triggered, but. So, but that worries me, like, so they went through this and now this building could be massively modified. It could look like the black building they got redone. That was a pretty intact house too. Well, now it doesn't look anything like anything historic. So I don't know.
So you're saying now it's time to do the heavy lifting.
We need to do something, and I think, I mean, I would say one of the action items could be designated historic district. Get town council to designate a district, and or select buildings and say, these are historic buildings that we can't let go. We've got the cultural resource survey, we've got a good start on that. Maybe there are more that we want to pick out, but I don't know. I think it needs to be more aggressive. Otherwise, it's just going to all go away. And once we lose that fabric, there's no point.
I do agree with that, yeah.
You know, so if we have the two little houses with the cottonwoods on, you know, Lynn's old store, and the water tank and barn. That's all it's designated, right? Like, so it's Lynn. It's Lynn designated. So, I don't know.
So one,
Sense my
go ahead.
So I have a few things.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And that's what we need to.
Be nice if we could get it back to one person
Back to one person.
instead of two
designate.
people to designate. Yes, but I doubt that we're gonna get there. Because I bet you would do one, and I bet you would do one.
Well,
I bet you would do one.
And I think along with it too is, like, we talk about ways to promote historic preservation, but what is the idea of promote the benefits of historic preservation? Right now, there are no benefits to a property owner, zero. And I think there need to be benefits. It needs to be good for the property owner to designate.
We've been struggling with that, and town council refuses to give
Well,
tax
because
benefit.
planning commission shut it down.
No, you changed it.
We made offers of things that we could do to make it more beneficial, and planning commission, with Lynn's assistance, shut it down. And then that went to town council, and town council agreed.
No, town council changed it, that one of those could be historical, and then you could turn it into an immediate short-term rental. And that were the two houses. They also changed it so it took
Those
two
were
people.
the original ones, but then when we tried to come back with more, they all got shut down.
Yours related to
Parking,
setbacks.
I mean,
That's different than,
but these are things that are beneficial to a property owner.
well,
They could make it enticing to someone, like, oh, if I do that, I have, you know, there are things that I can do that I couldn't do otherwise.
And I suggested easing up on some of the building codes
Yeah.
to allow it to be a historic.
Yeah, we had a few items and they all got shot down. But I mean, there was that initial round where, yeah, if you could have employee housing on the ground floor.
It was limited.
Yeah, I mean,
I would love to see tax benefits personally, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
they can have it if they choose to go into this, is it the state fund? Yeah, they can get it,
They have to jump through a lot of hoops, but it can be done.
but it can be done.
But that's not anything that we are actually promoting.
Right.
And maybe we should be. Maybe we should facilitate that. I don't know.
Did you have any experience with that, Dan, actually complying with
Federal.
in your
district, Georgia, but
I mean, we had Macon, we had the downtown district, and it was being revitalized. But I mean, you have to have something that makes somebody want to do it. If there's like no incentive, like I would rather sell my $3 million property than deal with you guys.
what incentives, do you recall any of the incentives?
Well, so Macon is like a bona fide historic district. So you could apply for like federal credits and all that stuff. And so the way they work it back home is they would sell their tax credits for like pennies on the dollar if they didn't need them, right?
Right.
So if you got $1 million in tax credits, I'm gonna sell it to this guy for $500,000 because he can probably use them better than I could. It's money, unless you've got a way to either make it profitable or one heck of a, draw as far as like tourism goes. It's just really hard to do.
So by being a historic district, it's more likely to be able to get those credits.
Yes.
So that's the thing that drives it. If it's a historic district, if we can get designated historic district, that frees up tax
It gives you a
credits.
little bit of teeth in it, and it gives people something worth going after. It's just, I remember when I first joined up with you guys, though, like I feel like the temperature of the town as far as like being hindered by historic guidelines was like, they weren't about it. Like, has that changed? How do we change that?
I think the question that, go ahead, you're gonna say something.
The temperature itself has not technically changed. We readopted the National Park Service's historic guidelines because that's a requirement of being the CLG. But for a while there, we had gotten rid of those guidelines
That's
and
what
just
that is.
defaulted to our regular Minturn guidelines because
That is restrictive.
they were too restrictive.
Yeah, I think that underneath on this whole conversation is a sort of an important issue that needs to come up and we need to talk about. I think you just hit it, and that is we can actually, preserve anything. We
Right.
just make recommendations to the council.
Sure.
And, we've had
If someone's
one,
designated
yeah, and we've had,
or nominated, sorry.
we had one experience where, we did a joint session and we came out of that, I think, with some pretty good ideas and made a lot of changes to the historic preservation. We suggested some potential benefits through some of these restrictions and development code changes. That did not fly at all. And I'm just wondering, I'm wondering if we just need to roll our sleeves up and present what we think is right and see where it goes, or whether we need to try to engage with council in some kind of a process so that they're bought into whatever results. I think, yeah, it's our experience that when we just present something is it doesn't go anywhere. And so, I don't know, do y'all have some comments, thoughts, feedback?
No, I think you guys are 100% right. It's like that time to where we're gonna be. This is who we're gonna be, right? So.
Yeah. You look like you're gonna say something, man.
Oh, I have a whole bunch of things. As always,
Bring it.
Well,
number one, we are doing a booth downtown. You know that. The town of Minturn has that big booth.
Yeah.
If you aren't aware
That's
of it,
great.
you should be.
Yeah.
And they have allowed me to take one table in there, almost a full table every week with historical. It has been amazing. I have sold not a ton of stuff, but I have sold Bill's books. I've sold those books. I have sold posters. That's all we have. So I'm working with Rob to try to get some more things together, like a t-shirt that's for historic, a tea towel that people can stuck in their suitcase to take home for grandma that has Minturn history on it. We can't do anything because we're tied without money. And we also need to talk to council about putting us into the budget next year with a certain amount. Cindy gets one amount for events, and she's looking to see if there's anything in there she can do to help us this year. Because she helped get that book done with leftovers from last year. Because we donated to Eagle County so that they could get them published. And so between Eagle County, us, and the library district, we were able to get those books, but we only got 200 published. So that's something we can sell. So we need to find a way to help do some of these things. And then we can go say, well, maybe we can do this for you because we'd have something to work with. We have no financial ability to do that.
I think, I was just gonna say like a sticker or a t-shirt with a cool design goes a long way. It really does. I would love a great t-shirt.
well, historically, the town's never really been into promoting itself. It's always allowed the private sector to do it. But we lost, one good shop that was selling t-shirts. We lost that one, but we gained another one. That I think Sally's promoting some intern t-shirts right now.
Kathy did, I did.
Yeah.
But the thing is that right now they're doing it for the scholarship fund. So we're working on doing some for the historical fund. If with the little bit of money that I've acquired last year and this year, which right now is only around $300 by selling the few things that I have. But if we can get some of that going, moving and start making more profit on that goes into the historical fund, then we have a little money to do something with. We don't right now. And we need to talk to council about giving us maybe a little budget. If it's a couple $1,000 a year, we can do an event. We can
We could
publish
use
it.
better plaques for like informative.
Well, we
plaques.
have plaques, and I'm working on getting those to the owners right now. And Rob has agreed to let Public Works put them up on the buildings, but we need permission from the owners as to where to put them. And Marco's in Italy, and it's one of those things. So I'm working on trying to, with the plaques, did you know?
I know, I was
You
meaning
got
more
it,
informative plaques around town that would just explain more.
Oh, that kind of thing. That
Yeah.
would be something.
And that'd be something.
Yeah.
Well, I got Michelle years ago to do the
The
turntable. And that was kind of inspired, if you've ever been to, Fruta, downtown, store Fruta,
Mhm.
they have little plaques. And it shows what the old photo. It's basically taken from the photographer's viewpoint
Mhm.
and directed at a certain building. And it may or may not look that way anymore. But
It's
it
like,
is,
here's what was there, yeah.
but it's printed on like a metal thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's kind of a black and white photo on a
Yeah.
metal plaque. But to me, that's amazing because it puts you
Yeah,
in the place of the photographer at the time and see how the town has changed. And
yeah, no, something like that would be great.
that was one of the coolest things I've seen to get someone on a bystander on the street involved, is to get them in the head of the photographer
And I
from
think,
100 years ago.
yeah, so I think on the education front, we're doing a lot of great things with a lot of
I
ways.
don't know if some of you people aren't aware, but we already do have a walking tour map. It is out now. It's out on table. It's in the bike shop. It's in the distillery, and I'm doing it on Saturdays. And it's also on the rack in front of Alpine Con. So it's available
And
out
I've
there.
seen people walking around with it,
And people are taking them. They're taking them and doing them.
which has been cool. And I put them in my rentals, my short-term rentals.
So, and we've got lots of those. So please, if you think of somebody who has a business that you want to try to get them to put some in, talk to Cindy. There's tons here, but there's tons upstairs, because the first shipment came with some bad paper, but then they replaced it all for us free. So now we have both shipments, and that would be great. Yeah. So we have that. The other thing, when Lindsay was here last week, she told us that we could rent equipment to do oral histories through the
History Colorado.
History Colorado. And Madison got that. Some of those things that I asked for from Lindsay are here. And I don't think we got the price on it yet, but we can rent it for 2 months. Rob's willing to help us learn how to use it, and then we can do some oral histories. And if we can get those done, then maybe we can do something like what Tracy's talking about, where you have a screen and you video something and we could show it, you know, at one of the booths in the market or something, where people can watch it. Getting the people aware is very interesting, because you don't think it is actually getting the buildings, but I can tell you what the people that I've met in that market, I have someone new to talk to who came up with the idea of having an example for like how to build a window.
Dan was saying,
Yes.
do we have an example?
I may know someone that I found that out through the market by being there, talking to people. It's amazing what you can find. I found a young man, he's probably 30-ish now. He used to be my neighbor next door here in Minturn when he was a young man, has moved down Valley, has a wife, just had his first child. He thinks his dad still has boxes of historical stuff from Minturn. He's going to see what his dad will release to us. Jessica found a couple boxes up in that closet of old historical things and gave them to me. So I've got, they're nothing great, but there's like a book of all the news articles that happened from the, I don't remember what years it was, but in Minturn and some stuff like that I have. So we're working on collecting some things that if we did find were, like in the cabin went up, if we wanted to put a few things in frames and put them on the walls or something. There's things that we've got we can work with now. We didn't have that before. So I'm going to give this gentleman a call because he would like to get involved with historic. The gentleman who was there said it's his dad, and he's here 6 months of the year, and he would like to get involved with the historical, even if in a position like Dan or just coming to the meetings. So I'm going to get some information to him and see what he can come up with. The other thing was there are some grants here available. And if you don't remember my asking her this, there was a grant that was up to $250,000 with a 25% match. We don't know what you have to use that grant for yet. But if we did, maybe that's something we could do by helping people do something with the building that we want to save. But we've got to take a look at that. And Madison again texted Lindsay on that so we can get some more information on it. Because that's quite a bit of money, you know. And if we do go with the one thing, and maybe what we need to do is find out what those steps are to get those the prices down. Because that's the same thing with land trust. It gets people tax money, but they can sell the tax credits off.
And that could be an action item for them.
I think there's probably certain areas in the building code where as long as you're not compromising life safety, you can probably help benefit people.
Well, we tried that,
And there's like,
yeah.
But like for me being,
It doesn't mean we shouldn't try again, but no, I'd like to suggest something though, because we're talking about there's gonna be an awareness goal, right? And
Which is already there.
yeah, it's already there. the question is this issue of, do we want to take on actually designating, or do we want to take on the fact that do we want to take on preserving and designating buildings in Minturn?
We can designate them without the permission of the owner.
No, I just, well, actually, that's not true. I think we can designate them, we can recommend a designation and then it's up to council. We can't designate anything without council.
Right.
But it's just a question, I'm not saying that we're gonna do it all. I just wanna understand, I would like some feedback from the rest of the commission. I mean, we know where Robert is on this. Where are you guys? Do you think?
I'm in the process, I'm working on one.
Huh?
I'm in the process of.
We're talking about the plan and the goals, and I was.
But I'm in the process of working on saving a building.
Should we have, as one of the goals in the plan be that we are proactively trying to preserve buildings?
I think so.
Was that in the last one?
No, this is a.
In the
this
last,
is a-
in the last goal section, did we have that in there? Or did we miss? What? The last time we had the goals and we crossed off those we had achieved.
No, we did not have that. No, we have never had this as a goal, and that's why I'm trying to raise it to see what everybody's opinion is, because I'd really like to hear from everybody. You know, do you think we should be in the business of pushing historic preservation?
Be very gentle with it.
Huh?
I think you have to be very gentle with it.
Should it be a goal of our commission?
I think it's really the next logical move to be.
It's a goal, but I think it's a gentle goal.
So, right, so this is the thing, we're talking about the plan. Is there anything that we want to change, because we're updating the plan? So I'm proposing that we have another goal, and then in that goal, there are going to be objectives and action items. So Ken's question is, do we want to make that one of the goals? I propose it as a goal. Does everyone agree? Should that be a goal?
I agree.
In the plan? That we are more
Yeah, I
proactive.
guess I just assumed from the very beginning that that's what preservation's all
Well,
about.
for example, let's talk about what it might look like, because we've talked about awareness a lot, but I'm gonna talk about this for a second. What I think it would look like is, like we were to get into action on this, then I might talk with our current mayor and say, hey, you know, we had this experience with you guys on suggesting some changes on variances, et cetera. We're trying to establish benefits. We had no benefits. And we feel like we're historic preservation. One of the thoughts we have is the possibility of using our inventory, which covered the one that the gentleman did for us.
The cultural resource.
Yeah, that covered what, through 100 block?
The 100 block, including
Well,
across the river to the 700 block.
Yeah, so we say that it covered that area. We would like to look at that either as a district, or we want to jointly with the council, talk about which of those buildings should be historic and see what the attitude is. We can't do anything without council. And so that's maybe what it would look like, is going in and having that initial conversation and then see what council wants to do with it, because we work for council, right? And if they say, no, that's too hot, we don't want to deal with that. Okay, well then, what do? We can create, are we just a PR awareness group? Education group? I mean, I think it's a very important point.
I just feel like I've been through this all before. And we've been through these discussions before with council.
I don't think we've.
And it
had
is a different council, slightly. Just,
Huh?
we do have a slightly different council.
Different council, we do, but I
I
don't
mean,
know
we
that.
got rid of one guy that was really against it. Who was blatantly against it. We also got rid of someone that used to be on this council that was against it.
What's the feeling about it?
Well, we
won't know. We don't know where council is unless we ask. But the question is, do we want to take this on? And what were you going to say, Kelly? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, we did kind of form this, and there was, I think, some excitement when we had one person owning a lot of our downtown. and was kind of threatening bulldozing the entire downtown.
Right.
And
That's what
even
it's
though that time has passed, I think we did something to at least save and make things aware to people. And if we did nothing else, we kind of did save the rest of the downtown area from
Nobody
immediately getting
yeah,
bulldozed.
they can't demo without us having a chance.
And it makes people think about it a little bit. You know, as a designer, I would love to see people, you know, mimicking some of our older buildings more. And kind of like Telluride and Crested Butte has, but we've always had a freedom of design of new stuff. And I'm still, I know it's a pain in the ass to design a new building in Telluride. You have to, you know, talk to architects there, and like, this is just so cumbersome. It's almost prevents anything from getting done, which we don't want.
Right.
So there's a fine line of promoting it and encouraging people to make something cool that blends in with the old town without forcing them to do it. And I've always been trying to, the philosophy of trying to promote it as a cool thing to do and encourage funkiness. And
I think the design guidelines that are in the code do go a long way in that direction.
but almost every new building has gone completely very modern with no references to its past. Almost across the board.
Which
Last
things are you looking at?
the last every building built in the last 10 years.
When was the Minturn Inn done? The hotel Minturn.
Hotel Minturn?
Yeah.
Before that.
Before that.
That was 2012.
Okay.
Way back, yeah.
It was before we
I'm
were.
just trying to think of what
It was a while ago.
it's
That was by someone who loves the historic.
right.
Put some old materials up.
Same thing
The
when-
renovation of both the Eagle River Inn and the saloon were both done with this
Yeah, saloon was.
sensitivity.
But I haven't seen anybody nominate the.
But as far as
I don't know. if
houses.
it's-
Houses.
yeah, personal houses, I haven't seen anyone kind of
Personal houses are all going contemporary.
everything's black. Every building's going black.
I don't know, maybe I should know, but it feels like between planning council and us, we don't have equal share at the table when it comes to anything. We don't have any,
Oh,
you know.
Why was
We don't have
a
get
budget,
that
we don't have
spot.
any special privileges
Yeah.
in terms of variances.
What's gonna give us the teeth to, you know.
Well, I think I'd like to ask a question real quick, just to pick up on what Kelly said, because I think we're starting to get to it. Do you feel like it's mission accomplished, the fact that we can sit here and no building can be demolished without us having a chance to designate it historic?
well, I think it makes people think about it.
Okay, is that mission accomplished, or do we need to pursue the
Should
actual
we go in attack
designation?
mode?
Well, no,
The first
do we
one-
want to encourage them, do we want to try to get these buildings designated? Or are they protected already because of the system that we have set up, which is you can't demo without coming through this process, which allows the building to be nominated, including by us?
I mean, I think in some terms, we've been a success because we've slowed the process down a little bit before demolition.
I agree.
It's,
I
it's,
think
it's
we-
a
I
good
think
first step.
Well, at least be aware that people care
It's
in
a step.
town. Not everyone, you know, I have
But-
some people that hate me
But I
because of
think-
it.
But I think the risk is well, there are two problems with it. One is that there's no guarantee that a building will get preserved if it doesn't get nominated and go through the process.
Yeah.
And the other thing is it creates a huge amount of uncertainty for anyone who has a building that's more than 75 years old. They can't sell it, they can't do anything with it, they're afraid to do something because what if it gets nominated? Now I'm gonna get hamstrung. Where I think if we actually went out and said, okay, these are the ones that matter. We have a historic district and they include these buildings. Now they can get tax benefits for those buildings, and everyone else knows that they're okay. There's that uncertainty has been removed for them. And I think that can help promote development. So I think going back to council and talk about what are the economic benefits that we can face by creating a historic district. You create certainty for the people that don't get designated, and you create a resource, a tax resource for those who do get designated.
There's also grants they can get.
And grants and again, and so we go to the town council not with, oh, we want to stop anyone from doing anything. It's more like, no, we want to promote development in town while preserving the buildings that matter. Like, if we lose all of this fabric, what does that look like for the town? Does town council want to see that happen? Okay, if not, well then, if we create a district, now we have buildings that are designated that can get grants and tax
So we have
credits.
certainty, we have benefits.
And then everyone else has certainty, they can go ahead and do their own development, and so, yeah, a lot of new buildings, like on empty lots, you can't say it has to look just like an old building, because that's going backwards and you're hamstringing anyone from doing anything. You give them guidelines and say, try and work within something that like scale and everything that matters, and a lot of that's in the code already, but color maybe but making new construction look like old is not historic preservation.
No, but there's towns like Crested Butte that I think have done a great job
There are a lot of new modern buildings.
blending the new and old together,
Yeah.
and kind of, they're very creative with it.
And a good architect will have that sensitivity to it and make it happen, but the thing that matters is preserving the buildings that actually are old. If you don't preserve those, you've lost the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Have we ever actually looked at the applications it takes to get the tax benefits? What somebody has to go through?
No, because nothing's ever been put on the state historic register.
There was we did discuss with, one of the consultants we had, I think it was, and they talked about a project in Leadville that they were undergoing.
The Tabor.
Huh?
The Tabor.
Was it the Tabor? Okay, I thought there was a second one too, where they were
Oh, there-
applying to get the,
Yeah, we never heard back on that. I
yeah,
think it was a restaurant
yeah,
across the street.
and they were in the process of making the decision, as I recall. But, anyway, there's some examples that we could understand if we talk to the folks that are actually doing the development.
I mean, that way we would understand when people say, well, it's so
Cumbersome.
I think a lot of
we'd
it
understand.
has been done for us though, when he came in and did the survey. Like anytime I've had.
No, for that, but
Yeah.
what I'm sorry, what I'm saying is the form they have to fill out to get the tax benefits.
Yeah,
or
how
the
hard is that?
grants.
What do they have?
How hard are that? Why is that?
Saloon just said, we're not gonna. do
Yeah,
it."
they said we're not gonna do it.
But how challenged were they up to that point? You see what I'm saying? At that point where they finally fed up with it?
Well, they'd already.
It already remodeled. What they did is tear down the front porch. And that triggered us.
Cause I've worked on nominating something back home and it takes a lot of work. And most of it's the research to prove that you're nominating it for whatever reason.
Correct. And now that we have this
She's
guy,
saying,
We
yeah,
have,
she's saying.
Yeah, he's done that.
She's saying, okay, so you're nominated, but up front, you need to be able to talk to that owner and say, hey, and there's some tax benefits you can get on the back.
So that's our next step. Yeah.
we need to know what those are.
I think you guys are in agreement.
Yeah, I think so.
and I was hoping that we could do something locally, which is always easier with our county. To get like a tax rate reduced, but like,
But without a historic district, none of these tax benefits are really that available. It's a lot harder to get them.
What is it about a district versus an individual property?
It
Like,
essentially sets it up, says like, this is supporting this district, it's.
I don't know how to explain it to you other than. So I've never had to do a district. I've only ever done a building, right?
Within a district.
Within a district, and to find one in Georgia is hard. It's not already, right? So like back home, we had the Vineville district. It was its own historic district and it was based upon the grand architecture of the houses. And the duration that people had lived there and stuff. So it was a historic district because the age of the houses, the significant architecture. You could see a Greek revival next to a Gothic.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it preserved,
But what was if I was to come up to you and say, hey, I want to buy in the district, what's the benefit of being in the district and being in a historically designated?
Why do people buy?
back home, it's prestige. I mean, it's prestige back home. It's the same reason that you try to get into the Sons of the American Revolution.
Did they get tax
Yeah, they
credits?
get tax credits. So you get tax credits for the residential, it's not as much you get for the commercial, you know. I mean, I did a house in Macon, and it was an old Greek revival, massive front porch with like a dozen columns on it. And that was mostly funded by, I believe, tax credits. But they also,
To renovate it?
yeah, renovated, you know, and so I mean,
As I recall, is the tax credit something like 25 or 30% of the building costs?
There's thresholds and
There's
limits
different
for both residential and
It's
commercial.
meaningful, right? And we did look at, I just noticed where you got that, that's awesome. Sorry, my train of thought is so cool. Let's see, I was just saying that.
The benefit.
We've looked at the district, right, before, we looked at, we never looked at the benefits of being in the district.
We've never looked at establishing a district, so therefore we've never looked at the benefits of it.
What was the fellow's name who did the resource survey?
Ron Sladek.
Ron.
We talked about it.
We brought it up with him, and he's like, yeah, that would really help to get things preserved.
That's where I'm remembering it from. And he talked about it generally.
35% residential tax credit,
That's what I was thinking of.
35%.
Yeah.
and I think maybe that's where, and I know that you said the planning and zoning council shut it down. I mean, you're not gonna get enough money from to do everything you need to do, right? And I think that's where, if there could be a conversation as to where the cost of construction meets the amount of money that's available, you know? That's outside my purview, really, but I mean, because construction costs are ridiculous out here. You know, if you're not getting enough, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not getting something decent, then why am I gonna, like, I feel like we have.
So let me go back to my question, because we were talking some more, but I want to check in. I already looked on YouTube. What about YouTube in terms of, and also Tracy, but in terms of taking this topic of how do we actually promote preservation? Let's say it that way. How do we?
First of all, we need to revisit what a district is and what it can give
I
us.
know, but I mean, is a general goal though, whether it's district.
The overarching goal, do we want to be a committee that actually pursues the preservation of structures
Yeah, or do we just want to focus on promotion,
and education and
awareness?
So we do something and maintain it, or we get lucky and play on people's conscience
I
tonight.
kind of like almost going to, you know, again, I'm picturing somebody to talk to, maybe it's Eric or somebody, but I like going and saying, look, we've been racking our brain trying to figure out how to come up with benefits. We tried variances, that didn't fly. The town doesn't really have deep pockets. The only thing we can come up with is the idea of exploring possibility of district. And then this would be the benefits of it. Is that something that the council has appetite to explore? Because we don't want to do a whole bunch of work and we, you know, off heading in the wrong direction.
Well, there's gotta be some work done before we go to council, so we.
I'm not
Talking-
suggesting, no, I'm just.
talking about the plan, like what is, how do we set up a plan?
What are you
that
gonna
the
tell-
committee can follow?
So
And
what we have in mind and what that's gonna offer the people.
And that could be the first objective, is to approach council with some ideas about how we might do this.
Before
But
we
the
do,
overall goal, do we want to have this to be a goal, is the question.
yeah,
We're talking about right now, this whole discussion at this moment is the agenda item, we're updating this plan.
Right.
Okay, so I offered up a suggestion that we add a goal about actively pursuing the preservation of buildings. Does everyone agree with that?
I agree with that. What do you think?
Yes.
Kelly? Tracy, did you say something?
No, I just said I agree with that. Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna have to.
I like in my conscious, I I like it, I just know there might be fight back from people.
Sure, and that's fine. You're gonna get pushback on anything we do.
Just to actively
Yeah.
get in there. with-
Especially as, because we want it to be part of our goal, one of our goals as a commission.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
then what are the objectives? Maybe the first one is, how do we get town council and on board with some ideas around, you know.
So we like make some of our best
or
ideas.
benefits,
Yeah.
or, you know.
I mean, I've always been trying to promote how do we be a benefit and not just a detriment to people. And, you know, I've done it just through educating and encouraging people, getting excited about, like, oh, you have an old building, there's cool, you know, this could be saved. And, you know, I helped save Helen's house, and I got
In the barn.
the owner's excited that this could be a fun project, and we did go through with it, even though ironically he doesn't want to have it designated or be any part of something, and wanted a bit of the destruction of this council in the process. But he did get excited about his own building, and you know, I don't quite know how to do it on a mass scale to people, except doing it individually with someone that has an old property.
And that's the
Just
promotion.
having to talk.
That's back to what we already have, bring awareness and promoting historic preservation. The question is, do you want to pursue a district or pursue tax incentives, or pursue code changes? You know, and granted, those things are gonna have to get approved by council, and they may get shut down, and people may not have stomach for it.
And I thought it was gonna be easier to get things like tax incentives and little perks.
But it could be an objective, is to
Was.
identify what are the tax benefits that are available. You know, like and
I mean, we gotta sell it to them.
maybe another objective is identify, you know, how can this be made beneficial to the owner?
So what if we like,
Yes, I totally agree.
yeah, like what if we bite? Sorry.
No, it's just hard getting, you know, everyone sees everything in just dollars.
So you're gonna get your butt spanked, it doesn't matter. Like, what if we
Which is-
got together and like just pick something and then we developed it within our group as to what this would look like, right? So we pick, if we were gonna do a house, or we were gonna do this, whatever, we get together, we pick what we think might be the strongest thing as an example. We build it strong, and then we present that to council. Unless we try, we don't know.
Ken did have a good point, though, maybe getting someone on council on board with us.
Well, here's what I would
So that
suggest,
you have
if we
buy-in.
took this on, if we took this goal on, and it's almost, I wonder if it's almost about preservation, or if it's about creating some benefits for preservation, but if we take this goal on, what I think it could look like is an action item, such as, first thing we gotta do is do some research on districts, and whether it's on a district basis, whether you're part of the district or you're just a one-off, what are the potential benefits that you can get out of that, and how difficult is it to achieve those benefits? We gotta get ourselves.
How can we facilitate?
Yeah, and how could we help the owner with that? That would be step one, I think, and then, I know you're good. And then step two would be for us to discuss that, and discuss approaching somebody on council to crash test this thing. And it would probably be the mayor, you know, something like that, and sit down and say, hey, we don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this, because we've done this, we've been in this rodeo before. And we want to see what the pulse of the council is. Was this something worth exploring? Because we think it is, you know, and here's why. And then they say, well, yeah, please, you know, flesh this out, and or we have like to have a work session with you guys like we did last time. We actually got us and the council together in one room. You know, I don't know where it'll go from there. And then I think those would be the two action items I would see.
The third one I could see is actually promote the designation of a historic district. Or identify. Pursue a dozen, 2 dozen buildings designated. Right, and
Well-
can we nominate buildings that aren't up for construction or applying for permits?
Yes, yeah.
Someone could just follow along and say, I want to designate that building.
Go to your deep dive, pick a building and do it. That'd be a good start.
And I actually think that the discussion, let's say, with the mayor would be the district is one possibility, the other possibility, which may not like, because I think there's a lot of heat on this one, is we come up with the top 10 buildings and we designate them and we're together on it.
Right.
And we all fade the heat.
Together. But we need someone outside of our commission to also designate, right?
Correct. Well, we could figure all that out if there was support for that. But I wouldn't want to start down trying to designate stuff if there's not going to be support.
Right.
So I have a
Well,
really
that's why I'd be a little later.
question. Town nominates a building. His wife be the second signature? She's not on the board.
Yeah, I don't know why not.
Can we find out about that? How does that work? Because right now, it's no board, no commission. So if one person on council nominates, nobody on any other commission or town staff can nominate. But what about their wives or husbands?
As long as they are technically owners or residents in town, owners of property in town, or have a place of business in town.
So I'm sorry, just as a hypothetical, could each of us pick 4 buildings, 20 buildings, or 30 buildings, and then we get one person, a citizen, who's all gung ho for historic preservation, and they co-nominate all 30 of those.
Yep.
That would work.
As long as y'all are willing
And
to
then
sit down and do
then
that.
we would sit down and review each one and make a recommendation to town council.
That's right.
And then council would have to decide whether or not to designate them.
Yes.
Yes.
So we could,
We have the power to nominate.
we have the power to initiate this process of actually saving buildings.
And we did. We did. My approach would be to front end load that for success.
Yeah, yes, no, I think you're much more diplomatic than I ever am. But, and I think that's, well, I could have it, but I'm saying like, effectively, that could be the path.
Yeah.
Is we just pick a bunch of buildings, we designate them, we get someone who's gonna back us up on all of them. We get the ball rolling,
Well, and
we actually save some buildings.
Well, I think there's one project that I think could be a possibility of that. And that would be St. Patrick's Church, since it's almost not even being used by anybody. And I
That's a cool
don't
thing.
think anyone in town would like to see it torn down.
I agree.
We had one church turned into a clothing store.
Yeah.
And they did preserve some stuff, this is way before we were into it, but
That's Holy Toledo, right?
Yeah.
yes. But they almost never even use the church. I think maybe once a year I've seen a service there,
Where? There?
the old St. Patrick's.
They use it for baptisms and weddings.
And I think I've seen it used once last year.
That's a good point, is like maybe
But-
we pick a really obvious building and we try out this process where one of us Kelly nominates it, we get someone else not on our board, resident to co-nominate. We go through the process with it and maybe we just start picking them off one by one. We just take it proactive. We get town council on board with the easy ones. And then as we start getting the more challenging ones, maybe, some will get shot down and others will be like, yeah, that is important.
What's happening in my head is that I'm almost thinking that we explore the district to understand whether that's something that we think is the right fit for the town.
If
If
it has benefits.
Yeah, if it is, then we can promote that, right? But this other plan B could be, okay, otherwise, let's start tackling these top 10 properties
Right.
over time. And we want you to know that that's what we're gonna be doing, and we want to have your support on that. And, what does that look like?
And
And
do
before we
we
get into action, because the worst is if we go out and do all this and then we have these council meetings, and it's just a free for all.
and do we, have we ever,
You can't get it all perfect, but I
Yeah.
think it would be good to lay some groundwork.
Yeah, and we'll probably develop some enemies and bounds as a result of that.
That's all right.
another thing that we could think about two. And I haven't put any thought into it, but it would be what's in Preservation Magazine that I subscribe to, with the Historic Society. It will always list what is on the endangered list and how do we save it. And I don't think we've come up with a list of important buildings, but have we come up with what is most endangered
Like a
to be
85, like a
what building
what's
most prone for developer to tear down and to help protect that? And as an idea, and I only get that because every month they list the property that's endangered of
Well, and yeah,
from developers.
with our survey, we could identify a bunch of buildings that we think are really important and make it public.
But we have, we have the list of the 10 and the things we say, but we haven't done like an endangered species list.
Like
buildings.
I would argue
at the-
anything on that list is endangered. Everything in those is endangered.
We had the fading five back home. Those were the 5 nominated buildings that were at risk of being lost forever, right?
Yeah.
And that's, the town was able to give they were able to do tax incentives and stuff locally to help them redevelop these old buildings. But they were like old, 1940s schoolhouses and stuff like that. They turned into artist lost. We don't really. And I hear about, kind of get lost track on that.
But just an idea.
It's the same idea. It's having a good list. It's like here's the ones. These are our priorities, and make it publicly.
Something catchy that sticks in somebody's mind. Fading five. I mean, it sticks in my mind.
That could be an
Like sadly enough, Pope's Bike Shop was probably our most beloved building, and that's the first one that got torn down. So
My question is, my number one, well, I have multiple number ones. But speaking of their Grammys.
Yeah.
Is something that a lot of people in this town worry about being torn down.
Which one? Grammys.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mattress.
I don't think it's possible. Now, anything's possible with money. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's possible with money. And I know Rob went in and did some framing in there to keep the building because he thought it was blowing in the wind.
yes,
That's
a lot of its own money.
I know that's a building that you could probably find people to back you on, but you're also gonna find as many people to fight it. And you've got the owner of it who's gonna fight you on it.
Always.
MR Minter.
I feel like we've got a lot of good pieces floating around here today. You know what I mean? Like we've not hashed out everything, but I feel good. You know what I mean? Like we've got some stuff floating around. Yeah, like we've.
I wish we had the Mercantile building because that would have been our crown jewel, but it's only like a wall that's left of
Do
it.
you think there's enough from our discussion that you could draft a goal with objectives and action items?
Yes.
Great. And then we can review it. And once we have something written out, it'll be easier to then respond rather than just talking those sorts of things.
I think so too.
If everyone's on board, it sounds like we are.
I think we're there. That's what I'm getting from everybody.
Yeah. Tracy, did you have anything else?
I was really intrigued by your comment that if we found someone that wasn't on the board, on the commission, and my term's up, I could be that person. Sorry.
Spinal Tap is in the house.
Wow.
Some kind of feedback on.
Or
Russian attack.
sound from here was going into hers and then back into her mic,
Heating back.
and then getting a amplified loop.
Wow.
Is she?
Okay, Tracy, are you still there?
Are you
Yeah, I
alive?
know what happened.
Are you okay? Are you alive?
Are you on the planet Earth or?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know why it's.
So did you have anything you wanted to add? We just want to make sure we're including you. My sense was that we're pretty much coalesced around adding an additional goal along the lines of what Robert suggested.
Yeah, I think it's great. I tried to nominate something once and I got really beat up, especially by someone that used to be on this council. I thought it was absurd, that level of like attack, but so it sort of put a little bit of trepidation in me. But I tend to agree that, we can talk and talk till we're blue in the face, but given that everything's changing in this town and the development is so rampant and nonstop that, the window's closing. I really believe it is. So, yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay. And then, on the promotion goals, Madison, did you want to, we started to walk through that. Do you want to walk through that, or do you want to represent this and we hit all 4 goals?
No, we're here.
Okay.
So goal number 2, since it didn't seem like anybody had any comments on goal number 1. Is that true?
And I think 1 was in pretty good shape.
Okay, great. Goal number 2. Engage with the public for voluntary participation in Minturns Historic Preservation Program. We have 2 objectives under that. Objective 2.1, proactively communicate the benefits of Minturns Historic Preservation Program with local property owners. And objective 2.2, educate and promote Minturn Municipal Code Chapter 19, Article 6, which encourages the relocations of structures over demolition. This had much fewer action items under it. Any comments, additions, removals, changes to goal number 2?
Ken, how much more room do we have to relocate structures out there? Because where else are we going to put them?
Oh, I think there's room, like if we had another cabin or 2, you could do it with.
I know, like downtown Frisco's doing, right, Kelly?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's true. It's a possibility for sure. I mean, it's a town decision.
Well, Woody, next door to Woody's house, there's some storage shacks, but they used to be railroad workers' houses. It's on a property, it's not fully being utilized right now. It was always one of his dreams to save one of those, and they're really tiny, but in the scope of our history, it represents what an old railroad miner lived in 10 by 15-foot shack back 100 years ago. Where is it? Next door to Woody's house. There's a property that has a couple of them left on it, and there's a couple others in town that haven't been torn out, some small sheds and shacks. And those would be a much easier project to relocate than the thing that we're trying right now. And it would be a nice addition if, you had more than one building out there.
My only question on this, anyway, I think that answers your question, Lynn. But my only question is this meaningfully different from, this is an idea of engaging volunteers, engage in participation, whereas the other's creating awareness. So I guess there's that. But when I look at it, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if we just end up with 2 goals. One around awareness / engagement, engagement of the community.
Which would include voluntary participation.
Yeah, and then a second goal around actually pursuing preservation.
So roll these and pull 1.
Yeah. Because when I look at the action items, I think those are pretty interesting. When I look at 2.1 and 2.2, the way they read, like educate and promote the municipal code, really? 2.2. And then like we're gonna go talk to local property owners about the benefits. We don't have any benefits. So it feels like those don't really fit for us, but the action items are pretty interesting. If we could come up with any of those items.
And these all go back to the promotion.
Yeah.
Bringing awareness.
Yeah. And then we just have one goal around, I don't know if you call it awareness, engagement, bring awareness to historic preservation. Yeah, I think that would, anyway, that would be something that I would propose that we consider.
I'll second that idea. Does anyone else?
Yeah.
Think that makes sense?
Madison, do you see anything I'm missing? Oh, okay. You guys all right with that?
Repeat it one more time.
Rather than having an awareness goal and an engagement goal, which we have right now, we have two goals.
Right.
One's awareness, one's engagement. And if you look at 2.1, if you read 2.1 and 2.2, those don't really resonate for me. But the action items are more about increasing awareness, and I think you just tuck those under the awareness goal.
Yeah, in a way, engagement is a means of one of the ways that you create awareness.
You're saying let this stuff kind of happen organically underneath the other goal, yeah.
Yeah.
When you said Minturn Municipal Code, Chapter 19, is that the historical chapter?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So I see no problem with saying that because it says Article 6, which encourages relocation of structures and over demolition.
Yeah. I'm not saying I have a problem with that, I just don't, it doesn't feel like a powerful goal for us.
They could fit as action items under the first goal.
Yeah.
That would be okay.
Yeah,
That's
I started these, all this stuff could just go back.
Yeah. Cause then we have two distinct goals. One is to create awareness, which we know that's a big goal and we're doing stuff in that territory. And then the second goal that we've discussed taking on, that we can't wait to see Madison do her magic.
There's another idea for an action item on the idea of actively pursuing projects. So what made me think of it when you were talking about the rail yard and moving the barn. We have these iconic structures on Forest Service land, and they're not on Minturn city property, but it's adjacent, and there are a half dozen up on Meadow Mountain and Hay Meadow that are actively falling to ruin.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a way that we could engage the Forest Service to preserve those?
I think that's excellent.
I did try this.
And so I'm just saying, just
Years ago.
as part of the goal, that goal of actively pursuing things, one of the action items could be to have the town approach Forest Service. And maybe it means we bring some resources.
Are they gonna try to conserve or are they gonna?
So this is what I talked to the Forest Service years ago personally, and this is before we had a historic board. Their goal was to let everything deteriorate naturally and get rid of it because it's a hazard on their property.
But what about the mine shaft?
So they were actively
What happened?
wishing, and they have torn out, there's a newspaper article about several structures that they have gotten rid of in other areas of Colorado for those reasons, because if a hiker goes in there and walks
It's
around,
haunted by
it's hurt, it's bad. So they're actually trying to get rid of those structures, and I was just saying, like, once you lose the roof, that's when everything starts to deteriorate because of snow. The first one, I call it the poison shack because it has poison signs all over it. They used to store chemicals in there at some point.
Which one?
If you go up the Meadow Mountain,
So one that still has a roof on it.
half a roof, but it's shingle, wood shake, and it's deteriorating, but it had a loft attic in it, and you can go in there and still has a wood floor, but no glass on the windows. Some hot plants outside, which tells me someone brewed beer at one point there. And a couple of the other buildings are falling to ruin there, and I wanted to put a metal roof on it just to help it preserve, and that's kind of was the response that I got from Forest Service.
No, we want it to.
But,
We want to go.
one thing that would play into that, if there was a cool one that we wanted to relocate,
Right.
probably be happy for us.
They'd be happy to have it go away.
Yeah,
And that one in particular. maybe that-
but it sucks because it's, you look at the goals of historic America, and it's like you want it in the location so it tells the story of what was there.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah, but we're not doing that with Myers Farm and.
But it's in town.
Aren't there a few more log barn, small units?
Absolutely.
Like on Boulder Street, there's
Yeah.
some on Main Street.
Yes.
Also, you guys, there's a bunch in Malloy Park that are really kind of cool, like restrooms, but they're just really kind of funny little structures
I
there.
know where these-
Probably not 75 years old, but
So,
Oh, they do have the toilets, I think should be saved, actually.
So I just want to do a check-in with everybody. I did want to suggest something that maybe we talk about, direction and just make sure we're clear. That, I think you got clarity on the, what you're gonna do on the goals, it sounds like. Do you think you have capacity and time to look at the district and do sort of an outline, or, maybe it's something you could just get off the shelf from someone, from one of our consultants. And they could say, what we're really looking for, to be honest with you, what are the benefits of the district? Right. Why would we do one? And that we want to revisit it, and get the gentleman's name. Ron, sorry. Maybe Ron would be the right person because he's the one that raised it, and he might have some ready materials, because I'm sensitive to your workload, and but that would be one thing that would be great. And then I think the other,
like a future agenda.
well, no, it's something that she could work on and then provide to us maybe.
As an agenda.
Yeah, it would become a future agenda, yeah. But, if it's something that she gets tomorrow, send it to us now, so we can all look at it and we can talk about it next meeting. The other was, I was struck by the interaction about what constitutes demolition, and that seems like something important for us to understand.
Okay.
If you could follow up on that. In the case of with the example we were talking about, you guys said you've seen some buildings that go down to just studs, and hey, it's not demolished because there's four studs still sticking up. If that's the case, we need to know that, because that's looks like a huge hole, because that wasn't my understanding. I don't think it was yours either, so.
And maybe it's a 50% rule or something. I've seen that.
It'd be good for us to know.
I've seen it used as a planning tool, like if you want to maintain, like, let's say that you can only have X amount of coverage on a lot, if you keep the footprint and stuff like that, what I mean? There's little rules like that that come into play.
Yeah, they say, well, I kept the footprint.
And there's 8 studs, right?
Anyway, I think it would be good for us to know that, because
Yeah, that's a good
I
plan.
would have responded differently. maybe.
Sure.
Was there anything else that you guys had for Madison? Well, out of today's meeting?
I almost want to create an endangered list. I mean, we have a radio tower, which after they demolish the train depot.
And that could be one of the
without discussion.
That could be one of the action items for this idea of actively pursuing.
I agree. I like the fading 5 or the high risk.
I mean, the radio tower that represents it's the last thing, and the crossing guards there.
I think that what I'm hearing
Right
is
behind the white.
somewhere in there is for us to create our, our high priority list.
Yeah, that could be one of the action items.
Yeah, I think she got that.
Not for tonight.
He's got that. Yeah.
And also trestle, out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Past.
Is there anything
Take one.
else? Because that actually, I think, gets us through tonight's agenda, unless I know I have a couple other things I need to do.
So Steph,
I could not print today, so I apologize. Thank you.
that's the.
Right, I'm with you. So I think that closes out that, unless you have anything, Madison. I think she's real clear, I can tell. Staff reports are none.
Real quick,
Sorry.
I as that wasn't included in the packet. I wasn't thinking about it on Friday. But we do have a seat coming up at the end of this month, Tracy's seat. So applications are open until July 30th. For historic preservation, there are 3-year terms. You are all aware of this. I'm preaching to the choir. But I'm just letting you know if you are talking to anybody who would like to apply. The application is on the website, and that's due to me by the 30th, and interviews will be at council on August 5th.
Do you have to be a resident to be
You do not.
business owner?
You need 3 full-time year-round residents. And then 2, I think, can be not residents.
It's the commission.
And I don't know what this would look like. You guys probably know each other probably a lot better than I know you guys. And if it's something possible, I would love to get together sometime outside of this, just to get to know everybody, because it's like, we only really get to see ourselves here, and it took us a
What are you
little
doing
bit.
tomorrow at 10 a.m.?
Gavin?
We're gonna be working on a cabinet. Serious findings.
I'll probably,
Business because it's
Yeah.
quasi judicial.
When they- like,
I can't talk about any specific projects.
You know, just because I felt like it took us a little bit tonight to warm up. You know, if we knew each other better, I
I
don't
like your
think.
part of the group now.
I feel good about it, but I think you could all feel better.
Yeah.
You know, tomorrow at 10, I'll probably be fussing with somebody in town.
I'm kidding.
So at least 3 of the voting members have to be full-time residents, property or business owners, or designated representatives of property or business owners within the town.
Say the very first part, how many?
3.
3, yeah. Okay, that's basically
So that's-
what you were saying, yeah.
Yeah, we just can't discuss anything.
Okay, so we have, and Tracy, you'll need to think about what you're gonna do on that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then, yes, you can apply because we've got 3
Yeah,
full-time here, right?
yeah.
Yeah. The 3.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. Is there anything else under staff reports? Okay, then we go to Historic Preservation Commission comments. Any commission comments? Anybody like to make?
Myers Barn update?
Sure.
If you want.
Is this the right place for it? Is that fine?
Sure.
Yeah,
It's not 20 minutes.
okay. Give us a very brief Myers
Updates.
Barn update.
Me? You're the one that likes to talk.
Sure, I do. Come on.
So we got the foundation poured, just so people know, out by Little Beach. We've got all the material from the old barn relocated to the building site. We've got the replacement logs in place from the rotten logs that were on the bottom. And currently putting the pieces back together. Hopefully starting, well, we started a little bit, but starting last week and this week, and just need some volunteers to help with the bigger logs. But it's exciting to actually finally, after being told this could never be done 5 or 6 years ago, that we're getting something done. And I hopefully feel that once it's done, then we have a place for historic things and documents and some place for people to donate stuff. It could be a location of many concerts inside. I had some musicians look at it and say, I'd love to play in here. And we have room for, to support food trucks, and, we had the riser thing, the bike race through town, and they set up a tent out there in the parking lot, and saw so many people coming through, and a ton of people. I'm surprised how many just come and turn around in that area looking for something. I don't know what.
Is there water and power utilities brought into that building?
We
There
have,
will be, yes.
There's stuff.
There'll be electricity and there'll be water, but there won't be sewer.
talking with Rob, we were thinking there could possibly be solar, which we'd like to promote that, for, small stuff, small
Sure.
appliances and lights, and I think that could be easily done. And we did do a pipe and foundation if we wanted to bring something extra. Making it a full commercial kitchen is gonna be very difficult with food code laws. So, but that can be done outside of the building as, temporary permit process, but people could enjoy the patio.
Right.
We plan to have a patio outside that would be ADA accessible for the concerts, and I've been trying to think about the location of future additions to the amphitheater, the pathway, changing the pathway to make it easier, and expanded seating
Isn't there a
positions.
whole site plan?
There
for that?
is.
From zero,
It.
and we're trying to be sensitive to it.
Work on some of this stuff. These meetings haven't just been us, we've had Rob out
Oh,
there.
okay.
So the
So
town's
you-
involved, the town's looking for ADA solutions, which in part could result in them supporting the decking and stuff.
So several years ago, we did meet with, was it Pedro from Zero?
Yeah.
That's from,
So we've been sensitive in the process of that, of the goals of the town in the future, even though we don't know when that's gonna happen, when funding's
That
gonna.
was the whole question of where do we put this so that it fits into the long.
Without interfering with this.
But
So that it helps the long-term plan, and that's Rob's.
and we had a display here.
How about right here?
We had a display from Xerin in this room,
Yeah.
and on it had a
No, I
building
know, I was with you.
similar to our,
Same size.
what we wanted, similar location, and this is kind of a future concession stand. And I started talking to him about what was his idea, and it matched our goals, and that kind of got me excited. Like, I have a building for you. Like, it's on your plan, and it's kind of where I want
It's the
it,
same size.
and it's kind of matched the goals of Xerin in the town. So
Great.
that's what.
Orientation.
So I got a little bit
Okay.
excited about that.
Are
And
there any questions on the project?
So like, is the barn, are you guys like filming it and taking pictures to where you need something?
I have a suggestion for you, and that is that you and your daughter, at 10 minutes afterwards, I'd like to take you out and show you.
Sure.
Okay.
we did hire, Woody did hire a professional photographer while we're destructing the old barn that will come down every
We've been
day.
taking pictures ourselves.
Yeah, he even has 4 Emmys.
I just feel like Eagle River, right?
Yeah.
They want to raise money, so they show some kind of presentation on something they did,
Yeah.
right? It's interesting
Yeah.
to people, and then you have stuff there. Because we were talking about how broke we are. You know, you could use something like that as a way, as like something to bring the
Well, I
community
like
into
the
the
documentary.
Well, I know we don't have a you don't see something real.
He was one of the 3 of us that's doing it. He has a degree at UCLA Film School, and he just came out with a
He does documentaries.
movie on sailing, and he was doing one on that Mount Everest, but it went horrifically wrong and tragic. But that is his background.
Okay.
And he has a lot of
any-
footage on the history of the town, just so you're aware, that was started under Ginn. When they were trying to, he got hired by Ginn and took a lot of footage of historical stuff in the town and the Ginn property, and just promoting Minturn. That I believe was paid for by Ginn, and he still has all of that. And he talked to me a little bit today about, he does have all this footage. It's sitting there.
Yeah, any other historic preservation comments?
I know I would love to have a T-shirt that has the train sticking out the other side of the roundhouse. I mean, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
You know what? I'll take that to the intern community fund.
No, historical city. I've already worked on it. Designs already made.
Oh, you already have it. Okay. good.
Well, no, Rob's got it. That's what we were talking about here
Okay,
tonight.
I'll leave it with you then. Awesome.
Have we talked about
That's community fund. It's gotta come.
Yeah. No.
the picture of the horrific train accident? It deserves a funny caption to make it a cool selling shirt.
Like, oops, or something like that.
Something to think about.
Future agenda items, we've talked about a couple. But I don't have anything else. Anybody else have anything? Otherwise, look for a motion to adjourn. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Tracy, for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Good night, Tracy. Bye-bye.